As the sun crested the horizon on June 10th, 1912, the air felt foreboding in the small town. Mrs. Lolli was the first to notice that something was amiss. Her neighbors, the McCaffee family, were uncharacteristically silent. Usually, the sounds of bustling children and daily chores filled the air, but today, an eerie quietness loomed. Mrs. Lolly's intuition nudged at her, a cold dread tightening in her chest. She hesitated but eventually hurried over to alert Mr. Rossmore, the brother of Mr. McCaffee. Together, their anxiety grew as repeated knocks and calls received no response. The stillness inside was deafening. With trembling hands, Mr. Moore used his spare key to unlock the front door. Stepping inside, everything seemed normal at first, until they reached the guest room. There, the sight that awaited them made their blood run cold. Two lifeless bodies lay sprawled on the bed, drenched in blood. Mrs. Lolly stifled a scream as Mr. Moore staggered back, pale and shaking. The utter horror carved into their faces as they took in the scene was unmistakable. The local marshal was summoned, and he arrived rapidly, the gravity of the situation evident on his face. As he moved through the house, the extent of the nightmare unveiled itself in agonizing clarity. The entire McCaffee family had been massacred, not a single member left alive. Even more chilling were the two young guests who had suffered the same gruesome fate. The walls, streaked with dark stains, whispered of unspeakable violence, while broken household items testified to the struggle that had occurred. Panic and despair gripped the townsfolk as the news spread. This was no mere crime. It was a haunting that cast a pall over the town, a shadow that whispered of cruelty and lost innocence. Who could have committed such an atrocity? Fear and suspicion gnawed at the community, breaking the fragile peace that once existed. The McCaffee house, once a place of warmth and laughter, now stood as a harrowing monument to brutality. On that dreadful day, the small town lost more than just 8 lives. They lost their sense of security, replaced forever by a lingering horror that time could not erase.